Ever wonder if modern life, with all its comforts and technology, is actually making us worse? We think of ourselves as the pinnacle of human evolution, right? The smartest, the most advanced. But what if I told you that for 99% of our time on this planet, we lived in a way that's completely alien to us now, and that ancient lifestyle might hold the secrets to a happier, healthier existence? It sounds crazy, but the evidence is fascinating. Let's start with a mind-bending fact to put things in perspective. If you imagine all of human history as a single 24-hour day, agriculture, the very foundation of our civilization, was only invented at 11:54 p.m. The Industrial Revolution, that happened in the last couple of seconds. Everything before that, all 23 hours and 54 minutes, was the Stone Age. We spent 99% of our existence as hunters. Think about that. Almost everything we consider normal, cities, jobs, supermarkets, even riding, is a brand new experiment. The question is this experiment working? Our hunter-gatherer ancestors, roaming the plains and forests, weren't just surviving, they were thriving in ways we've forgotten. Let's look at their diet. Forget fad diets and calorie counting. They ate what the land provided. A huge variety of wild plants, fruits, nuts, and lean meat from hunted animals. This wasn't just organic. It was superfood, packed with nutrients, fiber, and everything our bodies evolved to crave. The result? Fossil evidence suggests they were remarkably healthy. Diseases that plague us today, like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and many cancers, were virtually non-existent. Their bodies were strong, their bones dense. They were the original athletes, constantly moving, walking an average of 10 to 15 kilometers a day. Compare that to us. We sit at desks, in cars, on couches. Our food comes from boxers and factories, loaded with sugar, salt, and processed ingredients our bodies barely recognize. We've traded a diet of incredible diversity for a handful of mass-produced crops. It is what scientists call an evolutionary mismatch. Our ancient genes are stuck in a modern world they were designed for. And our health is paying the price. But it's not just about diet and exercise. Their social lives were also radically different. Hunter-gatherers lived in small, tight-knit bands of about 20 to 50 people. These weren't just neighbors. They were family. Everyone knew each other, relied on each other, and worked together for the common good. Sharing was the ultimate rule. If you had a successful hunt, you shared the meat with everyone, because you knew that next week, when your luck ran out, someone else would share with you. This deep sense of community and reciprocity was the ultimate social safety net. In these groups, there were no bosses, no kings, they were fiercely egalitarian. Decisions were made by consensus. If someone tried to become too dominant or hoard resources, the group would use ridicule, gossip, or even ostracism to bring them back in line. This ensured a level of social equality we can only dream of. Imagine a world with no massive wealth gap, where your value isn't measured by your possessions, but by your contribution to the group. This constant social interaction and cooperation were fundamental to their mental well-being. They were never truly alone. Children were raised by the entire village, cared for by a web of parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. They spent their days playing freely, learning essential skills through observation and practice, not in a structured classroom. This created a secure, supportive environment that fostered resilience and emotional stability. Now look at our modern world. We live in cities of millions, yet many of us feel profoundly lonely. We connect through screens, curating a perfect digital version of ourselves, while losing genuine face-to-face interaction. The pressure to compete, to accumulate more, to climb a social ladder, creates immense stress and anxiety. We've traded the security of the band for the illusion of individual freedom, and the rates of depression and anxiety have skyrocketed. It seems we've built a society that is fundamentally at odds with our deep-seated need for community and belonging. Even their concept of work was different. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups were shocked to find they spend only about 15 to 20 hours a week working, that is, actively hunting or gathering food. The rest of their time was spent on leisure, socializing, telling stories, playing music, and just relaxing. They had mastered the art of living well with less. They didn't have clutter or 1,000 possessions to manage. Their wealth wasn't in things, but in relationships, skills, and free time. We, on the other hand, are trapped in a cycle of working long hours to buy things we don't need, to impress people we don't know. We glorify being busy and sacrifice our well-being for productivity. We've forgotten that the goal of life isn't just to work and consume, but to live. The abyss of our deep past echoes a simpler truth. That fulfillment comes from connection, not consumption. So what can we learn from these echoes of our ancestors? Am I saying we should all abandon our homes and go live in the woods? Of course not. We can't turn back the clock. And there are many incredible benefits to modern life, like medicine and access to information. But we can listen to the wisdom encoded in our DNA. We can recognize the evolutionary mismatch and make conscious choices to bridge that gap. We can start by moving our bodies more, not just by going to the gym, but by incorporating natural movement into our daily lives. Walk more, take the stairs, spend time in nature. Our bodies will thank us for it. We can also rethink our food. We don't need to forage for berries, but we can choose whole, unprocessed foods. Eat a wider variety of plants. Prioritize foods that our great-great-great-grandparents would actually recognize as food. And most importantly, we must rebuild our communities. This is the hardest part in our individualistic society, but it's the most crucial. Reach out to your neighbors. Build real-life connections. Share your time and your resources. Prioritize cooperation over competition. Find your band, that group of people who support you, who you can rely on, no matter what. The story of our deep past isn't a judgment on our present, but a guide for our future. It reminds us that for 99% of our history, we were social, active, and deeply connected to nature and to each other. Those needs haven't disappeared. They are the echoes from the abyss of time, whispering the secrets to a more human way of life. By listening to them, we might just find the path back to a healthier, happier, and more meaningful existence. Thanks for watching. If this made you think, hit that like button and subscribe for more journeys into what makes us human. See you next time.